Howdy, folks. Here once again, Josh, along with the Boz, and we're holding it down for another edition of Boxing Chit. We appreciate you being here, those that will be live and in attendance, as well as those who will be listening back on the playback game. You are all appreciated. With that in mind, how's it going for you over there, Boz?
Yeah, it's going all right. I mean, still have a little, as you can hear, a little cough going on. But anyway, yeah, it's been quite nice. I mean, weather so far this month, but today has been very like shifting. Yeah, so but
Good to
yeah,
go.
anyway, can't
Good to
can't
go.
uh, can't pray for more anyway.
Yeah, it's a little cooler day here than what it's been. We dealt with some thunderstorms and all of that. But that
Oh,
being said, hey, I can't complain in full totality, but so far so good
yeah,
here today. We had a little rain, but we'll get through it. So as usual, we're here to talk boxing, and boxing without a doubt is in a good place right now, it seems, for this year with some of the undisputed matchups that we've gotten. There are some questions as to whether all of them have lived up to the hype, but hey, some good performances from people and individuals involved. Either way, it's a good stride, and we can see where we can go from here. Hopefully, some good things can happen. Per usual, I want to shout out those in the chat. So, Mr. Pads, appreciate you being here. Mr. Pads holding it down, representing Sweden. So always good to have you here, Mr. Paz. Mr. Paz says, peace, Josh and Boz, and Billy did really well. And I feel like it's time for him to step up the competition now. In addition, how do you feel about Frank Martin ducking Shakur Stevenson? We're going to get to that one for sure right there. We are. But speaking of Mbilli versus Nicholson, that is the first fight we're going to start with. It was headlining an ESPN Plus card going down at the Lac Ligny Casino in Gatineau, Canada, which is in the area of Quebec or the province of Quebec. And you had Kristen Mbilli coming in at 24-0, taking on Damon Nicholson coming in at 26-5 with one draw. Now, Nicholson has 26 knockouts, while Mbilli had 24, essentially, or something like that. But anyway, this was meant to be a fight that was going to have some action, and I guess you can say there was some action, though it was largely one way as far as the big shots were concerned, as Kristen Mbilli came in with an offensive onslaught as he was able to land some huge shots on Nicholson and dropped him multiple times. He dropped him in the first round. He was able to get up and recover and come back a few times, but he ended up getting dropped a few more times in the midst of this 4-round fight. And Christian Mbilli shows that, hey, he's someone to look out for at 168 pounds. Both fighters looked in condition, but this came down to that mentality and intensity of Christian Mbilli. He didn't give Nicholson any room to breathe in this contest.
yeah, obviously, yeah, he was. As I said to you just now, he reminds me of a young Nigel Benn. The way he's very aggressive, and I don't know if he hits as hard, but yeah, I would say he does have power. Definitely. I mean, he put the mount down like very early, after only 1 minute with one punch, and yeah, it looked to do the damage. As that one was really never able to come back after that. Obviously, yeah, even though he tried.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was a
yeah,
short and sweet fight to call it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty short and sweet. Real quick, salute to Rodolfo Rivera Jr., who says salutes. He's in the building here. Appreciate you being here, Rodolfo, per usual. Hope you're having a good
So
one out there. Cali, baby. Salute to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Says salutes, boys. Appreciate you here, Bruce. If you haven't already, go subscribe to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Check out the channel. A lot of great content over there from Bruce. Is always doing his thing, and is always much appreciated having you in the mix here. Bruce, Rodolfo says 1.8K subs. Fire. Yes, sir. Rodolfo trying to make some things happen. Trying to make it happen, baby. But we're going to keep pushing. Facebook user, this is my mom. Greetings, son and Boz. Happy Sunday. Make it do what it do. We will make it do what it does. Yep, be out that way here next week. So looking forward to that. Thank you for dropping by here, Mother. Bruce Gass said it hurt to see Damon taking that beating. Indeed, there, Bruce. Indeed, yeah. Mbilli, he was on an onslaught. He would not be denied on this particular night, and he was on a mission. And offensively, he is just a force and a tough threat to deal with overall. Let's see. Don't forget this up, Bruce.
It just wasn't a very easy task for Damon. I mean, he was facing a young, unbeaten lion in his own, home. How do you say? His own in his own turf. So it wasn't gonna be easy really for Damon Nicholson, and hardly a fair fight. I mean, let's be honest for him, but he wanted it, I guess. So
Yeah, it was. He's at that point in the career where this was a kind of make and break type fight in terms of it would have offered a lot of things where you to pull off the victory, but certainly the younger, fresher Mbilli showed that he's going to be a force here as he moves forward. Certainly, there at 168 pounds, thinking in and around that weight.
Very, very exciting division, of course.
Yes, certainly. And Mr. Pat says Devon seems like a nice guy based on your show and channel with him and his appearances on Skywalker Show. Indeed he is. Great guy there. Great guy, family man there, Mr. Pat. So definitely a good guy. Salute to Flat Boxing in the mix there, folks. Please check out his channel as well. It's as you see it there, FLAK, Flat Boxing. A lot of good content over there, or at least it's building up, constantly building on some historic stuff. Check out the Jack Sharkey video. If you don't know about Jack Sharkey, you might learn a thing or two. Better than advertised. Better than probably properly advertised by people who happen to mention him these days. Said I got Rick Glazer coming out tonight. Good stuff right there, Bruce. Everyone check that out. Rick Glazer. Glazer's been around boxing for a good long period of time. I've heard him on some other stuff, and he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. Been in and around the sport. Knows some of the back end, the business side of it as well.
I don't know really, but the name is familiar to me, but I don't really know what he does or who he is.
Yeah, he's like a boxing manager, promoter. He's been around the sport for a number of years in that capacity to some degree. So he has some pretty solid knowledge. He used to manage, I believe, or manage or promote, I believe it was managed Paul Spadafora. So we have stories for sure. So that'll be a word you want to check it out. Gonna be in the mix there, Bruce, for sure. Bruce says it texted Damon to let him know we are with him. Indeed. Same here, buddy. Same here.
We love you, Damon. We love you, buddy.
Without a doubt. Hey, the sport of boxing, sometimes it's a young man's sport. And Mbilli fresh and ready to throw down. Also another thing to note. So this is on ESPN Plus, of course. Hey, they mentioned 86 Boxing. Shout out to Corey Erdman. He's mentioning the Damon Nicholson interview here on 86 Boxing. So salute to him. Salute to Corey Erdman mentioning such, and salute to, of course, Damon coming on. So it was a surprise for sure to hear that mentioned, just sitting there watching it. So it's just
I imagine.
Like, whoa. But no, it was good stuff, though. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
it's
moving
really,
on, they say, I guess.
Yeah, it's always a surprise, but a pleasant one, of course. I mean, I also actually want to brag a little. I met a fan of my channel, not this Saturday, but the last one.
Oh, so cool.
I was in this store, because I also have a channel where I talk about, perfumes. So as guys like Mr. Pads and knows, and I was there in a perfume store, and this guy suddenly comes up to me, and he worked there and was like, "Hello, I watch your channel. Do you live here?" It was like I felt like a superstar. He almost could not believe that I lived here.
Good stuff right there. Good stuff. So check out the Voz's channel there, because he does have it locked down when it comes to the perfumes, colognes, all that good stuff. So.
My boxing and perfumes channel. Very unusual combination, I must admit, but
But makes it happen. It makes it happen.
I love both. I love both. So yeah, it's a pleasure to do it.
Oh yeah, yeah, good stuff. So check him out, the Boz, you know it. Salute to Andre Rodriguez. Says good afternoon, gentlemen. He says I finally catch you guys live. Yes, like to have you here, Andre. Salute to you. Shout out to Portugal over there. Yep, we are here live, talking boxing. So yeah, we were mentioning the Christian Mbilli Damon Nicholson contest that took place on Friday night, and it was in Canada. And Mbilli picked up the fourth round TKO victory, and he moves on. So 168 pounds. Of course, we know that the man there at 168 is Canelo Alvarez. He's going to be taking on Jermell Charlo here soon. We all know that's one of the big fights in boxing, one of the bigger ones for this year. And the winner of that contest will be undisputed world super middleweight champion, which is currently the title held by Canelo Alvarez. It just so happens Jermell Charlo is the undisputed champion at 154 pounds. So it's undisputed versus undisputed. Now, this is a two-weight jump for Jermell Charlo, so we'll see how he handles things as it relates to that. But in theory, Christian Mbilli, he moves himself up the line as far as potentially getting a shot at 168-pound supremacy. Now, there are some others up top who probably have a few things to say about such, being David Benavidez, and maybe even Caleb Plant still out there. You have David Morrell. Benavidez Morrell probably looking at the top two right now in line, or who's probably deserving of that shot. But then you have a mix of others. So we'll see how Mbilli adds to the mix, and we may see him in there with some other fighters or another top name or a big name there at 168. Could it be a Caleb Plant? Could it be a Andre Durrell or something like, or not Andre Durrell, but Anthony Durrell or something like that? Yeah. So you never know.
Yeah. By the way, I just have to mention that Steve Claggett, he also won on Friday.
Oh yeah, I was watching that.
Yeah, in a really important fight, he beat Carlos Sanchez. So I have kind of talked to him on another podcast where he guested not that long ago, and he really came off as a nice guy, really humble, Steve Claggett. So shout out to Steve, and congratulations to you.
Yeah. Steve did well.
Had a very good year. Yeah, first he stopped Machado in 3 rounds.
Yeah, Roberto Machado. Yeah, that is right. Yeah, salute to him for sure. He was good.
Salute.
Yeah, Steve. So he was very offensive, aggressive, and he really broke down Sanchez, and he was working him to the body. And it was a matter of a time. He kept pressing, of course, and eventually got that unanimous decision. That being said, he almost stopped him. He sit him down around 3 times to the body, I believe, with all of them. And Claggett, he was really on it. So I look back on his career. Yeah, he had some good names on there. It's a tough fighter right there. So that's good to see him in that win column. He's on a streak right now. This is probably like his eighth straight win or something of that nature. I know he's on a win streak as of late.
And he's 34. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I just now found out he looks a lot younger than that, actually. He's like 24 or 25.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He does. So shout out to Steve Claggett. That was a co-feature on this Mbilli Nicholson card. So it was a good one. There's also another one. There's 2 youngsters, both 8-0. Steve Gomot, or maybe not Steve though, but his last name was Gomot, but it was a younger fighter. And he was taking on fighter with the last name Rivera or Tobar Rivera, and it ended up being probably the fight of the night right there. I'm gonna look it up.
This was Steve Cleggett's 7th victory in a row. I just checked.
Okay, cool. Steve Gomot, 7th. Claggett 7th in a row. Okay, yeah. So that's good.
As the Welsh would have said, well done, boyo.
Well done. But yeah, so it's Alexander Gomot he fought Ulysses Tovar, and he won a unanimous decision in a very, very good fight. Might have been the fight of the night there. A lot of back and forth. They were very evenly matched. Tovar was a Mexican fighter, and Gomont, he was from that Quebec area, and he was considered a knockout artist. He wasn't able to pull out the knockout, but man, he was landing some big shots. He took some big shots. I think he showed himself to be very good, and he ended up, getting that unanimous decision victory. This was the fight right before the co-feature and main event. Certainly one I felt worthy of mention. One of those fights that is one that's worth checking out. You're interested in seeing two young guns just really not backing down. Both 8-0, both not really ready to give anything up or give anything away. So it was a very interesting one for sure. So I wanted to mention that one. So this was the big card of the weekend right there, though there was some other action. As a matter of fact, I was watching a card last night that had a dark horse fight of the year type fight in the main event. It was a smaller card, but it was aired on Fox Espanol. So it was a pretty nice one. They had Beto Duran actually as one of the commentators there on the English sides doing the English work. So it was a good card. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. Now back to Mr. Pad's question. He says, "How do you feel about Frank Martin ducking Steve Shakur?" So in the news, there had been it was seemingly a done deal that Shakur Stevenson would be taking on Frank Martin. I think they were aiming for November some time frame or somewhere in there. And I guess apparently the contract was sent over by Top Rank, and it has now been declined by the team that is Frank Martin's representation, even though previously in principle they had agreed to everything. So some are viewing it as a duck. I don't know if you've heard about this, Boz. You're familiar with Frank Martin?
Not really. I mean, I'm not. I must admit. Yeah. But
he's a lightweight under the Man Down Promotions banner or whatever, Man Down Promotions Management or whatever it may be for Errol Spence. So he's out of that Dallas area. He's pretty solid. He's looked pretty good. His last fight, he went through some adversity, I guess you could say. Some say it was closer than what the cards probably had, and some say, hey, he did better than what some were complaining about as far as him not looking too good in that contest. But that being said, he's someone with promise at lightweight.
I don't really see anyone at lightweight probably not beating Shakur right now. So I do believe he might be ducking him, but it's not really, you can't blame him.
Yes. So, some people understand. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, he's a handful to deal with. So he's had trouble getting some of the top guys to step in there with him. So it is something that he'll continue to have to go through as, he continues to build his name, and if he can build his name and become that guy that forces these individuals to fight them because that's where their biggest payday is going to come from, then that would be sort of icing on the cake for him right there. So right now it's just a matter of you throw something out there, see if it sticks. You put some names out there, see if they take the bait and see if they step in the ring with you. But either way, it's going to be tough to deal with him both offensively and defensively. So maybe that's what was seen from the Martin team. Who knows if it was Martin himself that said no, or if he's getting advisement because he's with PBC. So maybe the advisement was to not do so. But hey, not a good look.
No, I agree.
Not a good look. Not a good look. So
we'll see. You still gotta be bold and take on everybody. You can, of course, get. So.
Yeah, certainly. So, we'll see what happens from here. Mr. Pads also mentions that. How do you feel about Otto Wallin versus Murat Gassiev being confirmed? I think it's actually a good fight, and it serves as a bit of a gauge for both fighters to see how good they actually are at heavyweight. Interesting. Yeah. So, I didn't know about this one. happening. But interesting fight, I would say for sure. What are your thoughts there, Boz?
Yeah, I mean Garcia is so far done well, heavyweight, but hasn't yet had a real test. You might say.
Right.
So Wallin will definitely be provide the test for him, and also it will be a test for Wallin himself. And because I
Mhm.
think he has a lot of ability and he's a tough guy, as we saw against Fury. But I think his problem might be that he doesn't have. He's not such a hard puncher, I would say, because
Mhm.
most of his wins. I mean, first of all, he doesn't have that many knockouts for heavyweight, and those knockout wins were like TKO stoppages. Mostly like when
Yeah.
he just wore his opponents out. With constant
Yeah.
attack punching. So that might be that's always a problem, a handicap in the heavyweight division, of course. But some guys have succeeded without power, like Chris Bird, for instance. With
Mhm.
relying on their
Mhm.
skills and the movement and speed. Yeah. So, but Valin is not that type. He's a big guy, so that will be a problem for him, I think.
Yeah, yeah. When you have a lack of power, you have to have some other things that you excel really well at, especially at
Mm,
that top level. And as you mentioned, some people have it, some don't. And of course, that's what holds them back at that very top tier of any division.
yeah,
So it is a very interesting one right there. I've in the past enjoyed Gassiev, especially during his time at cruiserweight. Now I
mm,
haven't seen much of him at heavyweight because there really hasn't been much to write home about as far as his heavyweight
yeah,
foray. Because I remember when it happened, which seems like ages ago now, but there's really never he hasn't had a big name at heavyweight. So maybe this is essentially the
yeah,
biggest name for the both of them. So as far as names are concerned, it'll be a good look for both of them to have a win over either each or on their resume. And Otto Valin, of course, he has been in there with Tyson Fury, so I guess you can say that
yeah.
at heavyweight he has taken on the best. And for Murat
Mm,
Gassiev, of course, at cruiserweight, a guy who's
yeah,
now heavyweight, Alexander Usyk, he took him on. So both of them have taken on the two best heavyweights in the world, even
yeah.
though
That's
Usyk it
true.
wasn't at heavyweight. So it'll be
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. You are right. That's what they have in common. Yeah. Yeah, I
now.
mean, if imagine if Wallin could punch, like, for instance, let's say Anthony Joshua. Let's not
Yeah,
say Wilder. Nobody can punch.
yeah.
I think he would have probably stopped Tyson Fury because he did kind of cut him up or bruise him up pretty badly in that
Mm-hmm.
fight. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I still
that's a
need to watch that entire fight. Actually, I've seen just
yeah.
highlights and
Me
clips of
too.
it, but I heard
Me
Vali
too.
did pretty well.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it was a very close fight. I mean, Fury did win for
Yeah,
real, but he really struggled. He didn't do it easily at all. No way. No.
yeah. So I was thinking from that perspective, Eileen, yeah, he had more success with Fury than Gassiev did with Usyk because Gassiev, of
Yeah,
course, was pretty much thoroughly
yeah,
outboxed in that contest, left a
he
lot to be
was.
desired because it was the final of the World Boxing Series for the cruiserweight division. But I'm
Mm,
sure many, along with myself, thought that Gassiev would put up more of a contest, but it turned out he did not.
mm. Yeah, I remember I scored it. You can find it on fight score, my scorecard for the fight. It was 117, 112. And I
Okay,
had
okay.
Garcia winning one, no, sorry, 3 rounds, and maybe one was even or something. But
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
today I would have given it to Usyk. So
Yeah,
that's
Gassiev seemingly never really left that first gear or whatever. It's like he was content with,
yeah. He
keeping that
was,
same pace.
yeah. I remember he had a good round four where he kind of landed a punch that seemed to kind of rattle Usyk, but that was all. He never was able to follow it up and do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So yeah, interesting one right there, Mr. Pat. So that's one we'll definitely be checking for. I want to see it because I want to see how it goes down and see what what each fighter can make of this opportunity. And I'd imagine the winner may be a name that we see not too far in the distant future, considering we have some other young heavyweights out there who are looking for names and who are looking to keep active, and they could potentially be ones that come in and be an opponent to potentially upset the apple cart. And it will be an experience gain for some of those young heavyweights that are out there, because there are a number of them. There are a number of them right now who are looking for that fight to keep pushing them up the level or up the echelon in some sense.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Pat says, also Josh and Boz, did y'all see the Sky Sports interview where Fury said he won't fight Usyk? He lost a lot of diehard fan base after that, I think. Oh, I hadn't seen that right there, Mr. Pat. I'm guessing this happened here over the last 2 days or something of that nature. I hadn't seen that for sure, but that is disheartening, I guess you can say.
Of course, he won't fight him. I mean, he realized now that he also doesn't doesn't stand that much better chance than Joshua, because he's even bigger than Joshua and he's not faster than Joshua. Doesn't move better, Let's put it, and doesn't punch harder. So how the hell can he beat Usyk then? I mean, only way I can see was if he just kind of wrestle him until he became tired, and
that's what I think he's gonna do.
Yeah, just bully, and in the end Usyk gets tired, and then then Fury maybe stops him in the end in the last round, something like that.
Yeah, so not a good look right there, Mr. Pads. I don't know what the deal is with Tyson Fury, but I did see that so this must have happened around this press conference with Francis Ngannou. I did see that, they were there facing off and everything. I didn't see the press conference in itself, but I saw a clip of their face-off with a little back and forth the two had going on. But that being said, I know they're really peddling and pushing this fight as something major, as like a huge fight that the world has been waiting for, though it's not necessarily that way for those on the boxing side of it, I can tell you. But it is what it is. This is what we have been presented. So maybe Fury is just throwing some smoke out there, but then again, his actions would have to prove otherwise as far as him really taking on Usyk. And right now, I mean, it's no closer than it's ever been, or it's as far away as it's ever been, and it seems like the closer they got, the more that was done to pull them further apart. So I don't even know where it goes from here. So we'll see what happens with this Ngannou contest that they're pushing, and they really are pushing it to be something competitive. But time will tell, though. I'm not sure.
I mean, he didn't look in good shape either. Fury, I believe I saw a picture from the way in, and he was like before he came back, like before the first Wilder fight, pretty much.
Yeah.
That big mushy belly, flabby, and doesn't.
Well, who knows if he's been in the gym and training and all that stuff? I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe he's not taking this too serious, considering he knows he's gonna be better just all around fundamentally than Ngannou, who isn't a boxer.
You know what? Yeah. I know now. I realize what his problem is. He needed to lose a fight. I mean, had he lost the first fight or the last one to Wilder, would have been better for him, because then he could, get back the motivation to come back and, win again. Because this way he was just winning. And I mean, that one was draw, but the first one was still, everybody knows he won the first Wilder fight. But then you get like, all right, I can do it. It's no longer very exciting. I know I'm the best. Then he stopped trying. He stopped really being very motivated and focused. And then he was like, all right, I want to prove myself now that I'm the strongest, toughest SOB in the world as well. So now that's why he took that Ngannou fight. I believe.
Yeah, probably. A salute to time for the kickback. Appreciate you dropping in here. Says Francis is just looking for a boxing level payday. So certainly, I got to give it to Francis. He is gonna get that payday. It's gonna be his biggest. And that said something about the UFC, considering he was the heavyweight champion of the UFC, and he turned down that contract offer, and now he's gonna get more than he's made probably in his entire career, I believe, with the UFC in this one fight. And it may be many times more in actuality. So that is interesting. Time for the kickback. Also says Francis does stand a puncher's chance, though. Yeah, certainly it is the heavyweight division. He says he hits like a truck, but so did Deontay Wilder, and he lost 3 times. Yeah, good point. Good point. It is the heavyweight division, so those guys are big and can throw some big punches for sure. So power and punch power, what it does when connecting, that's always something that you can't necessarily predict with full totality. So Francis Ngannou most certainly has a puncher's chance. So if I were him, as I've said, I'd come out just gunning. I don't care if I throw everything away there in the first round, but I'm coming out gunning.
Yeah, but the problem is Fury does have a chin. He can't take those punches,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So it's one punch is definitely not enough. I mean, had Wilder been able to hit him with several consecutive bombs, then maybe he would
right.
knock him out. But only one punch, that's the problem. Just that big right hand, bam. That's not enough, So.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm thinking he needs to go with an onslaught. That's what I'm talking about. So do it like try to if he catches him with something unexpectedly, just go for it right there.
Yeah, Mike Tyson style, just man.
Yeah. If you get a glimpse or a slither of hope that you caught him with something, just go for it. Just go for it.
I know. That's why many actually people, fight fans, don't like one punch guys, because they often just focus on landing that one big punch, and if they don't, then it's just a boring fight. It can be anyway. But the guys who just throw a lot, they are very fun to watch. Exciting.
Oh yeah, certainly. Salute to Ratsclot 222. Who has said, "Sup guys, I'm listening. Appreciate you being here, Ratsclot. Of course, it's always great to have you in the mix here." Let me go back here to Mr. Pads, who said, "Speaking about heavyweights, did y'all see the scrap between David Adelaide and Fabio Wardley at the Fury and Ngannou wrestler? Adelaide pushed Wardley, and a guy from his entourage elbowed Wardley. That's crazy." Now, I didn't see the thing. I didn't know of the situation. I did see a picture on social media, but I didn't have any context behind it. But it was the two of them in the face with each other, and I saw a quote or something of Adelaide saying he knocked him out or something like that. But I didn't know that this was going down like this. But this was pretty crazy right there. I've been waiting for Adelaide to do something in the ring. It looks like he wanted to do something out of the ring first, and maybe this brings out something in David Adelaide, who they've been touting, but he hasn't really had a big name. So if those two are going at it, I'm looking forward to him. I like Fabio Wardley. Of course, he's more tested than David Adelaide, so I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah.
And I need to see this clip too. Did you see the clip, Boz?
Yeah, I did actually. It was really bad behavior from Adelaide. I mean, really, that was totally unnecessary.
I didn't think he had that in him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really why do something like that in front of everybody, and I guess he was just trying to provoke a match from early fight. He got it. I mean, he doesn't. I don't think he really wants a piece of Fabio Wardley. I mean, most guys outside of
So this was just a random thing.
Yeah.
So they're not slated to face each other, right? Or
I don't know really.
Or were they?
I haven't heard of it. No, I haven't heard of it really. I mean, Wardley is already. I think he has more fights actually.
Oh no, it joined 2 days before the thing. Okay, so yeah, it was. I guess they were gonna fight each other 2 days before, or at least they were added to the thing 2 days before. Right. But okay, as mentioned there, Wardley having a cut. Mr. Pad says Wardley got a cut on his right eye and a cut on his throat. I think a lot of people thought that was disgusting behavior from Adelaide's team, and that fight may now
Yeah,
be postponed. Wow,
yeah.
wow,
It
interesting.
seems it has been because I don't see it on BoxRec. It doesn't say it's gonna happen. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I just saw a little clip there. So this was like right outside on the little carpet, red carpet thing.
I don't
Interesting.
think. Yeah, even if it
Yeah.
happens, of course, I think Worley wins for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Interesting right there. I didn't even think Adelaide had that type of scrap in them right there to come full
Yeah,
something.
I
But
mean,
maybe it's because he's with this team. I haven't really seen much from him to make me think that he'd have much of a chance against Wardley. But
he's
interesting.
taking lessons from
SEC.
Herbie Hyde. I would say, he used to do that stuff. So.
Oh yeah, Rasclot 222 says Fury versus Ngannou is a joke. I feel you there for Rasclot. I feel you. Yeah, it's certainly
Yeah.
one not sought in that capacity that they think. I believe, but time for the kickback says Ngannou hits harder than Wilder. He's recorded as the hardest puncher in the world. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know of anything of that nature.
I
That's a
don't know.
very interesting.
Yeah, I don't really believe that. I mean, the UFC and boxing, they are two different things. So
Now
I
they
don't know
wear
how
two
they.
different glove size too. You know.
Yeah, I don't know how they measure the punching power in UFC, but
Yeah,
I mean, as far as I could see, most guys there are really don't have much of chins, So but they
yeah,
just
yeah.
get hit and then they are gone, like pretty much.
Yeah, yeah,
Because,
yeah. Looks
yeah.
like we have a battle going back and forth here between Rasclot and Time for the Kickback in relation to this as well. In terms of just get it. So Time for the Kickback says it's a Guinness World Record. Huh, interesting. I wonder. Yeah, I wonder how they measured that right there. Time for the Kickback.
He's a strong. I mean, he's a very strong guy, obviously, and he had a tough life. I heard
Yeah, yeah,
tough
yeah,
growing up. Oh, yeah,
yeah. He had the like a refugee essentially
yeah.
when
He's
he left Nigeria.
from Nigeria or
Yeah,
Cameroon.
yeah.
Or, yeah,
He's Nigerian, I believe.
Nigeria. Yeah,
I believe he's
yeah.
Nigerian.
Or
Um,
maybe I don't know. Maybe from Cameroon. I'm not sure.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean
So
they are. Yeah, I think they are neighbors, aren't they? Those two countries. I think so.
they're not too
And
far off.
yeah, not too far off. Maybe
Yeah,
Chad. Chad is between them.
Chad.
Yeah.
You know any great Chad boxers or fighters? I can't think of anybody right now. But Ghana has always
No.
had some pretty solid fighters.
There was
Produce.
a guy from Malawi, actually,
Oh yeah.
Drake Tadzi, who beat
Oh,
James
also.
Toney.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Also, Isaac Chilimba. He's from Malawi. You know,
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Malawi is at one point the poorest country in the world, which is
Yeah.
crazy. I was trying to interview him one time, Isaac Chalimba. I might need to set that up. I just found this story interesting. I was trying to see how he rose out of Malawi, which is
Yeah. It's like
tough.
half the country consists of that lake, that's called Malawi. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
and it's still I don't know if
also,
it may not be the
yeah,
poorest country in the world now, but I'm sure it's not too far off. I mean, from where it probably was, just considering things. But
of
that's
course,
interesting. I need to reach out
trying
to
to.
Ice.
Oh yeah. Also, there Zambia used to have some good fighters back in the
Mm,
80s. Lodi Muvali.
okay.
He was knocked out by Matthew Saad Muhammad in a title fight,
Mm,
actually.
okay. Good to go. Yeah,
Mm.
Rasclot thinks Wilder punches harder than Ngannou. I feel like that might be the case too. I feel like that
Let's
might be
know.
the case, but I don't know. I'd imagine there are some differences though between sort of punching in the UFC uh, in the boxing ring. But yeah, I think they use 4 ounce gloves there, Mr. Pads in the UFC. I think they do use 4
Is that
ounces
bigger or smaller than in boxing? I don't know.
bigger. You,
Bigger.
yeah, low on the lower end in boxing, we might see 10 to 8 ounces. I don't know how often they do 8 ounces, but 10 ounces would probably be customary. Now, in the amateurs, for instance,
Yeah, bigger.
you have to wear, if you're over 139 pounds, or 139, you have to wear 12 ounces. If you're below, you can wear you wear 10 ounces. So
Right.
it's interesting.
Yeah, well, Winky, you're right. His gloves look huge for his
Mhm.
son.
And
Winky, right?
some will write certain stipulations into their contract. In terms
Yeah.
of once you get there to those with the
He
leverage,
was like,
get
I
some
think
bigger.
he was thinking if I can't punch, at least I can have as big gloves as possible. So do
Mm.
as much damage as I can.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Rascot says the impact of 4-ounce gloves is the same as the impact of 10-ounce gloves, 8-ounce gloves, and so on. Oh yeah. It is interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't think that they would be too far off. But I guess the gloves the stuff, the padding, I guess it more so helps your hands, as opposed to providing any force or anything of that nature. It more so helps your hands. So I can see it. I guess if you're a strong puncher, then even in the boxing gloves, gonna be pretty
It's
strong, or without the boxing gloves and then some 4-ounce gloves, you might be a bit even stronger, I would think, or your punches may have a bit more pop to them. Just considering that the ounces are reduced, but that by that same token, that would open
mm,
you up to potential hand injuries and more of more, or at least more opportunity for a hand injury. I'd imagine with them being lower. Yeah, so it's interesting. Very interesting. Rasclot says Fury avoided Usyk to fight Ngannou, and Ngannou avoided John Jones to fight Fury. But they're both equally clowns. I remember, I thought Ngannou Jones was something that was going to happen. That would have been an interesting one right there, and a big one in MMA in the UFC world for sure,
mm,
because of the fact that John Jones would have been taking on the man at heavyweight, and someone that people would have felt would legitimately be able to knock him out. So that would have been an interesting one right there. Looks
mm.
like it's not going to happen now.
Yeah, well, pity.
Yeah, so you know your stuff. Mr. Pat says, Rap Scott, I like you on Jedi show. You know your stuff. Jedi. Good stuff right there. Time for the kickback says, Francis Ngannou holds the world record for most powerful punch, and it's harder than a Ford Escort going at full speed. As Tyson Fury braces to be hit with that power of a 12-pound sledgehammer.
Why Ford Escort? Is that like the most powerful car? I
No,
don't
it's a
think so.
little. Ain't that a little car? I think Escort is a little car, but I guess
Yeah,
you can get a little speed behind it and do some things.
yeah, right.
But still, to be compared to a car, I feel like my mom might have a Ford Escort. I think we do. Or there's another. If it wasn't an Escort, there's another one on that smaller end there. So, but that's still to get a punch compared to a car. That's pretty interesting. That is pretty
I
interesting.
I heard someone say that Mike Tyson he punches so hard that he could like knock over a rhino. I know that's true. Yeah,
Well, interesting. I don't know. Those are pretty tough.
yeah, they
That
are. But
armor, that armor is just like,
yeah, pretty big guys too.
what happens if the rhino doesn't want to be punched?
Boom. Yeah,
That's
horns you.
time for the kickback. Says I heard Joe Rogan say that's what it was recorded as, even though it sounds insane. But other commentators said the exact same thing. Yeah, yeah, I've seen them do some pretty crazy comparison on like that, like ESPN. They would do this thing, sports science show, where they compared certain things from a scientific standpoint, the force behind or the torque behind a runner, or what they do, and the catch force in football, that type stuff. So I wouldn't doubt it that they could find some form of a comparison there. So yeah, very interesting. Miss Pat says, Rascal, I didn't know the impact is the same for the different glove sizes. I never thought about that. Good info, bro. Rascal says, remember the gloves are weighed from one end to the next. MMA guys thinks 10 PS gloves are at the end. They don't know about boxing. No ish. Ngannou down there punched Alistair Overeem into orbit. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Alistair. Now Alistair is a little bit past it there now, right?
yeah,
Like I
yeah. Well,
say, Alistair.
a big guy, big strong guy, but yeah, really best. He's
Yeah,
best.
yeah. Yeah, Mr. Pads says, or Ratspot says, Mr. Pads is speaking on punches. Wilder can KO any MMA fighter with 16-ounce gloves. Yeah, I think that's the case right there. He's been leveraging the punches. You know, he's full time working on his punching, boxing about the punching. So I think so. Time for a kickback says, if Paul went pro, how long do you think he goes before without a loss? Just fighting pure boxers. It all depends on who they put him in there against. You know, Tyson or what's the guy named Fury's brother,
Brother
the
Tommy.
Tommy Fury. Yeah. So Tommy Fury, he's like lower tier, not even a very good boxer in reality, and he hadn't fought
Right.
anyone. So there are ways now. There are ways you can. Jake Paul could fight boxers like real boxers, or at least real in name, and build up a record over boxers. But certainly, yeah, it all depends on the levels. I mean, like a Tommy
Yeah,
Fury or something like that. That's probably
Tommy.
someone, if he keeps working at it, he could beat. And I actually
Yeah,
thought potentially beat Tommy Fury in that first fight, you know, and I think he's capable of. But when you start
he
talking
did.
about legitimate boxers that are highly ranked, then yeah, I don't think he has much of a chance.
No. That fight proved that he's still unpolished and wild, in his style. He managed to put Tommy down in the last couple once. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he does hit pretty hard, but that's pretty much all he has, I would say, right now.
Now,
Yeah,
Tommy Fury was his first real boxer, and I, along with I'm sure many, use the term "real" loosely. So that tells you a little bit right there. But if he were going up against a guy, and you know Tommy Fury, he was coming up. I think they fought at what, like 190 or something like that, or 185 or maybe. So Fury is fighting at 175, but Jake Paul has generally fought at 190, which puts him in that cruiserweight range, which means that in all likelihood he'd be going up against guys who would be cutting down to 200, and therefore if they're legit boxers, then, or excuse me, if they're higher ranked boxers, then yeah, it's going to be tough for Jake Paul, just considering a lot of these guys will have been doing it for a long time. Now, of course,
yeah,
there are a lot of fighters from varying countries and all that stuff in between getting to the top level, but certainly I don't see Jake Paul as ever being anyone legitimately a top level boxer. I don't mind him doing what he's doing, but I think that he's found a little niche for himself in knocking off these retired MMA dudes. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? He's really giving it to them.
yeah. He surely be considered a serious boxer, or a serious, player in real boxing,
Yeah,
world. Yeah, so he's a showman. He can do what he does. That's all right. But I'm not. I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
he has any. I don't think he seriously thinks he could really be successful against like really good fighters. Mm.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. Good point there. Mr. Pad said, I feel like there are amateur boxers with better striking technique. No, there are. Like, for instance, there are amateur boxers out there who could beat Jake Paul. Some people don't want to believe that is the case, but
Mm.
if you've been around the sport of boxing, especially the amateur boxing scene, then you know that there are young fighters out there who could beat Jake Paul right now, and they're amateur, haven't had any pro fights. As a matter of fact,
Mm.
they don't have to be as big as him either. They just are technically superior, more battle tested. You know, you have amateurs out there with hundreds of fights, and they've been in with individuals both in competition and sparring, etc. So there are amateurs out there that would beat some of these, or a guy like Jake Paul who is beating these MMA guys, and these amateur boxers don't have to have any pro experience. That's just kind of the way it is. That's like when LeBron James was in high school, like surely if he would have played someone who was at the college level, or heck, probably even some of the guys that were in the NBA, he would have outdueled them, you know. It's just like that with the top amateur boxers. There's a difference,
Yeah.
and you can see it there in the ring. I can tell you that firsthand from just being in there officiating with them, and you know, safety first. But you can certainly tell the difference when there's a boxer with 10 fights versus a boxer with 90 fights or something like that. And if they're in the ring with each other, then it's usually bad things for the boxer with 10 fights. So no different than if one of those guys would be in there with Jake Paul. And that's the honest truth right there.
Mm, that's right.
Yeah. Now, Boz, on the other hand, if he and I were to face off, then you know we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. What's your fighting weight?
Well, we'll have to probably we'll do Bridger weight.
I'm a heavyweight, but I don't know. I guess I can go down, but that would take a lot of working
We'll do
out
Bridger weight.
and eating properly, like dieting.
Yeah, we have to put in the chat Bridger weight. Maybe if we can get the cruiser weight, we can make that happen. Jake Paul's a real pro there, Russ. I said they gave him that title. So he has a title. Does Jake have a title in the rat spot? Mr. Pads, unfortunately, many guys can practice only boxing, so they're limited because, these boxers, they put in a lot of work, especially these amateur guys. They're putting in work all the time. It does not stop. They're sparring, going through it.
Like even Charlie Zelenov had a title. You know, everyone can get the belt made for himself. You know?
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's real.
yeah.
You remember?
Zelenov.
Charlie? Yeah.
Wilder. I remember him and Wilder, man.
Wasn't much of a sparring, really, but he tried. Anyway.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I feel him for sure. He was like, time for the kickback. Jake Paul took on some impressive strikers in MMA, but first time he fought Tommy Fury, he got him out of there. Yeah, but hey, Tommy Fury and Jake Paul, that's kind of the same level right there. Time for the kickback. So I don't hold that loss against him. I think they were pretty much same level from a boxing standpoint. I mean, it's a loss he took, but certainly, who knows how the rematch would go? They're pretty much same level. Someone you're not gonna throw in there with anybody with legit skills for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of boxer like goes to take part in a reality TV show like for a couple of months? You know, that's Tommy Fury. He was like, Love Island. I believe that's called. And that's where he met, I think, his current wife, the mother of his child.
Tommy Fury, I think he's in the right place. His next fight is going to be against KSI, so I think he's found. Right. I think he's found the right sort of placement for him right there. That's about the level he's on right now. The level he's been on right there. So he might get to 14-0 there. Time for the kickback. He might get to it. You might get there. Wouldn't be surprised. Boxing is turned into a big circus show because of guys like Jake Paul. That's why I watch old boxing matches too. Hey, I still watch old boxing matches as well, Rasclot. Sure, but I don't mind the Jake Paul stuff. Putting it into perspective, considering boxing has always had these sort of sideshow type fights and things of that nature, these exhibitions and kind of fun parody-ish type of
shenanigans,
all of that stuff. Yeah. But certainly, I don't take it serious in thinking that Jake Paul is anything more than kind of what he is right now, which is an entertainer in the sport, I guess you can say.
He is, of course. Yeah, of course. Same as his brother. I thought it was his brother that was. Oh yeah, he already did fight KSI. That's right. Yeah.
No. Oh yeah. It is right. So yeah,
Yeah.
time for the kickback says he's a student of boxing history, love it and all, but give the UFC the nod over boxer because if they fought in the streets, yeah, the boxer would lose. Oh yeah, that probably could happen if they take him down and put some kind of move on him. By that same token, if they're standing up, striking,
Mm.
the UFC guy might get caught in timber. I would say that
Yeah.
the UFC guy has a better chance of beating a boxer in the octagon than MMA guy has of beating a boxer in the ring, like a legitimate boxer at the top level,
Yeah.
because you can
Yeah.
always find
That,
someone that someone can beat.
yeah. That has been proven, I think,
Yeah,
now by now. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Right spot, especially those top level amateurs that walk through Jake Paul. Most certainly they're rat splat. Most certainly these guys are legit. They're legit. It's
Mm.
no joke. It's no joke for them for sure. This Pat says another thing, Josh. I heard about Serrano fighting a 12 rounder, 3 minute per round fight against some Brazilian woman. I did see something about that as well, Mr. Pat. I feel like she's done it before too. Someone is. There may have been multiple that have done it before, but I mean, in recent times, I feel like Serrano may have done it previously as
Not
well.
not Chris Cyborg, is it? The
No,
Brazilian
no, no,
woman.
no. Cyborg wouldn't be
Yeah.
ready for that, and the weight difference is too much
And
right
she's
there.
already kind of, yeah, past her
Yeah,
best,
because
maybe.
Toronto's at like 130, 135 ish, so really 130. At least that's what she fought Katie
Right.
Taylor at. Um, and Cyborg is probably like 160 somewhere in there when she's
Yeah, yeah,
fighting.
she's
Yeah, she's big.
freakishly strong for a woman. Yeah,
Right,
really.
yes. Or maybe she fights at 154 or something. I know she had her boxing debut not too long ago, but I did hear about this interesting one right there. Hey, I don't mind it. I feel that if they're not going to make it universally the same in terms of the 3 minute rounds for the women, I wouldn't have been. I would have been cool with adding 2 rounds for championship fights. Even if they're 2 minute
Yeah,
rounds. I know we've talked about this before here, Boz, in terms of yeah, right now, championship fights even are 10 2 minute rounds. What if they were 12 2 minute rounds? I think that's something.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I think it's gonna go some time before they really kind of introduce that in women's boxing. Yeah,
Yeah,
it it should be either, yeah, 10 rounds, 3 minutes, or 12 rounds, 2 minutes. Or yeah,
yeah. But I'm for it, Mr. Pads. We'll see how it go. I know I've seen it happen before, and I wanted to say Serrano, but I think she's gonna be good. We'll see if this forces a knockout or a stoppage, because that's one of the things people think that there would be more stoppages in the women's fights with 3 rounders. But you
mm,
have some women who have been able to stop the other women even with these 2 minute rounders. So I think some of that just comes down to same thing with the guys, whether you have that type of punch or that type of pop to your punch.
yeah.
Yeah. Time for the kickback says what class was Jake LaMotta? Weight class 160. At least that's where he got his claim to fame at
Yeah.
160 pounds right there.
I don't know
So
if he ever fought above 160, but
yeah, I'm
yeah.
not sure either. It's a good question
Mm.
right there. Rasclot, you may know, huh? Did Jake LaMotta fight below 160? Which I think he
I
certainly
know
frame
he,
wise wasn't a huge guy, so I could see it.
yeah, like 5'8" or something, 5'9". I don't know.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was a 160
I
pounder, the
I do
raging.
know he stopped Bob Satterfield. That's how bad his chin was. But that might have been
Wow.
160 also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Satterfield, he won a world title, didn't he?
I don't
Or
think
did
he
he?
did, but
Or did he not? He did. He not. He didn't
no.
get one.
I don't know if he ever really fought for it, because he had quite a lot of knockout losses because of that chin. He was a
Yeah,
good
maybe
fighter.
he did.
Yeah, I know he beat some good fighters anyway, but yeah,
So no,
he's
he
not.
didn't get a title, huh? No.
No.
All right, interesting. Yep. Okay, okay.
Yeah, there was. Have you watched that movie, Resurrecting the Champ? That's where there was about this guy. I think based on a true story that there was a homeless guy who claimed he was Bob Satterfield, but it turned out that he was someone else who had used his name before to get fights and stuff. So it's a pretty good movie. If you haven't checked it out, it's
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson who plays that old
Okay.
ex-boxer.
Okay. This is cool. I gotta check that out. I gotta
Yeah,
check that out. Oh yeah, I hadn't seen that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a
So
nice. I mean, it's a good movie. It's a rather like tragic, ending, but it's a good movie. Not gonna spoil it too much, but anyway,
way to
yeah,
dampen the mood there, boss.
yeah. I mean, it's still nice. I mean, heartwarming. It's about a friendship between a young sports writer and this washed up hobo ex boxer.
Okay, and Samuel L. Jackson playing the boxer. Interesting.
Yeah, he like fought Bob Satterfield and he got knocked out by him. So I don't know who this guy is because he didn't really exist. I don't know if he was probably based on some real boxer.
Mm,
Tommy Kincaid, his name is in the movie. So I
mm,
I looked it up on Boxer. There was no guy with that name, Tommy.
I wonder if he was fictional. Maybe he was a fictional guy, or
Yeah,
they just changed the name or something.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, because they didn't have
But
the name.
anyway, there's a scene there where he talks to Lamotta on the phone.
Oh
This
yeah.
hobo, yeah,
Mhm.
and Lamotta doesn't know that this isn't really Bob, and so
That's
it's
funny.
very special scene, yeah.
That is funny. Cool, cool. I'll have to see what's up. I'll try and check that out.
Yeah.
Uh, Mr. Pat says Fury and Ngannou fighting for the special WBC belt called the Rita Championship. Rita, is that how you say it? That's where they're fighting at, right? What is it? Rita,
Riyadh, Riyadh.
Riyadh,
Yeah,
Riyadh,
it's
Riyadh champion.
the capital of Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Riyadh. Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah, WBC. They're always coming up with some kind of belt. Hey,
Yeah.
I get that
Oh
sanctioning fee.
man. Pretty soon there's gonna be like a belt called I don't know, Monaco or whatever, Canary Islands, something like that. Ibiza belt. Why not?
Yeah, yeah, right, right. Miss Fat says, "Did you hear about Muhammad Char reaching a settlement with the WBA? He's reinstated as the regular champ, but has to make a
Oh
fight
no.
with his." Oh, I heard some craziness about that. I didn't know how legit
WBA.
it was. Like, how the hell is Jarrell Miller getting a title shot, let alone
Yeah.
Manuel Char? But how the
Yeah.
heck Jarrell Miller
Well,
is at one fight since his multi-time suspension, right?
come on, Char. I mean, come on. This guy was well, knocked out like ages ago by
So this
Povetkin.
certainly makes things look like a joke in the sport right here,
Yeah,
especially
I mean WBA
belt.
really. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves what they allow. I mean, those
Yeah,
standards. They
that's
can't get any lower. Like it's a joke.
yeah, right. You're right. You're right. Just
It's,
when you think one can't get worse than the other, I mean,
yeah,
how can you
I mean,
top it?
yeah, I mean, at least WBC, IBF, they do have certain criteria. They don't get that low, but
Yeah, right.
WBA, yeah,
So
really
Jarrell
low.
Miller could be world champion here soon.
Yeah, I
World
think
champion.
they've had more champions that nobody ever heard of than any other organization,
Right,
even
right.
WBO.
Yeah,
So yeah,
right. It's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah, man.
This is crazy. But yeah, I had heard some craziness surrounding that, Mr. Pass. That's insane. Who'd have thought? Uh, let me see. The Fury
Yeah,
brothers of both circus clowns. Yeah. How do you think Roscoe Easy who won the first UFC tournament? Oh yeah,
yeah,
interesting stuff.
Royce Gracie. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know that too because I read about that family. The Gracies.
Hey, Boz, did you see what happened to James Tony when he went to the UFC?
Yeah, like I mean, ages ago. Yeah,
Was interesting.
he lost to Randy Couture. I know. Yeah,
Well, I did see that what Rasclot mentioned. Yeah, old Silva got knocked out by Ray Mercer. Man, Ray Mercer nearly
Yeah,
took his head off.
merciless Ray Mercer.
We got the
Yeah.
MMA. We got the MMA boxing battle going on. You know, it's one of those things. Uh, hey,
Yeah.
time for the kickback says, "Hey, I got a big question. I've been wondering about. Did y'all hear about that girl who called out Keith Thurman? Yeah,
No.
Clarissa Shields.
Oh,
Clarissa Shields. She
Clarissa.
called out Keith. She said she wants to fight Keith. She said she thinks she can beat him.
I
Well,
don't
yeah,
think so, but yeah, she could. She can try.
yeah, she
As
could
far
try it
as
for sure. I
yeah,
like Clarissa, but yeah, I think Keith hands it to her for sure.
yeah, she should rather rematch Savannah Marshall, and now that Savannah is a champion, also. Yeah,
Yeah, that might be the best one or the best fight for her right now. That rematch, and then
yeah,
there's a girl by the name of Shadeja Green who's
yeah.
on the
That's the one. Shadeja.
potentially to
Sounds
potentially.
like a flower.
Oh, yeah. Shadeja Green, but she has a little power to her,
Hmm.
so she can make things
She.
interesting.
You said she's at 154 or something right
No, I think
now.
she's 16. I feel like
60.
she's 168.
68. That's cool. Oh yeah, right. She was bigger actually than
Yeah,
Larissa. Yeah.
yeah, I think she's 168.
Yeah, I think Larissa, it's only fair for her to take on women who are actually physically bigger and
Yeah,
if
she's
not stronger.
168.
Yeah, I mean take on somebody like who is with her abilities. I mean, it doesn't feel fair to take on opponents who are especially smaller or weaker or yeah,
Yeah,
or equally big. She should take on the strongest, the biggest women that she can find.
yeah. Yes, there's certainly, most certainly. So yeah, it's, but yeah, it should be an interesting one. I don't know how, I think women's boxing is growing, and as more get
Yeah.
into it, the competition expands, right, and more
Mm,
opportunity, more
yeah.
opportunities there for the women. Yeah, I don't think Carissa would fare too
Yeah.
well with Keith Thurman, who wouldn't have to cut down, you know, and I think that
Yeah,
the
it's not.
power would be real.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I don't think anybody would allow it. It's not like tennis, when Billie Jean King beat that guy, Bobby Briggs was or something. Rick, I don't remember. But,
Yeah, and
that's not
yeah,
the
and not only that, but Clarissa Shields, she doesn't really knock out women, so I can't see her knocking out,
yeah, exactly.
especially a top level male boxer, Keith Thurman.
While Thurman does hit pretty hard. I mean, he can hit hard.
One time, he's part
Yeah,
time
one
now,
time.
but hey, at one time he was one time.
Yeah, one time, second time.
Time for kickback says, if it happened, would y'all even watch it? Would you watch it, Vaz? Clarissa versus Keith?
Why not? Just for the
Why
entertainment
not?
value. Yeah, sure.
Keith said he'd do it for charity with some 16-ounce gloves, and he said he just jab. So yeah, why not?
Exhibition, yeah, some kind of
Yeah, like a
exhibition.
little exhibition. Why not?
Yeah, she
Why not?
can't harm him. She can't harm him much, so he can just stand there, take punches, and then we like we'll say she won. All right, I let her win for
All
the
right,
sake of equality.
all
Yeah.
right, good, yeah, good stuff. Hey, Rasclot said Jake weighed in in some fights under 150. So okay, that's what's up right there. Jake LaMotta. So he came into some contests under 150.
Yeah, I know that he never fought really above 160, at least not in a really important fight. Maybe he had a couple of fights that were a little above that limit. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the end of
certainly.
his career. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Time for the kickback. So 160 was not considered heavyweight back then, but
No,
back in the day, there were definitely no. I mean, it wasn't strange
yeah,
to see middleweight fighting up at heavyweight.
everything above 175, right? It was heavyweight basically. I mean, yeah, back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Rascott says Lamata weighed in some fights just above 150, but never anything below that. Okay, cool, cool. Good
Hmm.
stuff there, Rascott. Good stuff.
He was a strong guy, but he had small hands. I mean, I remember in that movie, he cries about having. He said, "Look at me, I have small hands. How
As
can I?"
Raging Bull one,
Yeah, yeah.
I still need
Remember
to watch
those?
that. I still need to
Oh
watch
man, you
that.
haven't watched it. Come on, you
I
disappoint
know
me,
it's
man.
crazy, but I
Oh.
did watch Gentleman Jim. Have you watched Gentleman Jim?
With Errol Flynn.
Yep.
No, no, actually, no. I just seen like a
You know
scene.
Errol Flynn's in there. How have you not seen it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it in a like maybe a documentary about Flynn or something. I don't.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, he did a good job. I felt like that
Yeah,
was really Jim Corbett in there. I felt like it was really him.
yeah. He was in good shape. A big
Oh,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Salute to Random Acoustic Thought says, big up, guys. Salute to you, Random. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Yeah, we got to have you drop in here sometime. Random.
Mm.
Yeah, Random and I got to do something else. We did do a little discussion on what was this last one? 1903 lightweights. That was a pretty good discussion right there. It was very interesting. A lot of good lightweights out
Yeah,
there.
those
You can be a
guys,
part of the
right?
next one there, Boz. We're going to be talking about 1903 lightweights. You're down for it, right?
I don't know. We'll see. You
All
know,
right.
there are some fighters that really have big records, but that nobody really talks
Oh,
about them.
yeah.
Like there was that guy who I think Battling Torres, I believe it was his name, something like that. Battling
Battling
Torres.
Torres.
Yeah.
Battling Torres. Do I know Battling Torres? I wouldn't
Was he
doubt
the
it. A
one
lot
that
of battlings out there.
maybe he was the one who fought? Let's see, just I know one of them fought against Carlos Ortiz. But maybe
Okay, okay. Yeah,
yeah.
Battling Torres.
Yeah, that's him, yeah. Raimundo Torres real name.
Yep.
He
Jose
actually
Raimundo Torres.
he lasted 10 rounds against Ortiz. Yeah, that's right. That's him.
Okay. Okay.
A
Good stuff.
Mexican.
Good stuff. Yeah, this was yeah, so he was from that period with the great Carlos Ortiz, former
Hmm.
lightweight champion.
The golden lightweight.
All right, well, that's not bad right there. Battling Torres. Yeah, I don't know Torres like that, but hey, you got to check him out. So
Hmm.
Mexicano, that's good stuff right there. There's some other ones certainly back in the day who had some of those pretty amazing records, and yeah, they don't often get mentioned. But yeah,
Hmm.
we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them at some point. Salute Random Kitchen Talk. Hey, check out Random Kitchen Talk, folks. A lot of good history, action, and discussion taking place there on the channel. Hey, and gotta love it. Gotta love it. We always
Hmm.
down for the history. Time for the kickback says Clarissa probably the best female to ever do it, but she's letting it gas her up, so now she thinks she can fight men. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Maybe there, maybe. It'd
Oh,
be interesting her versus Ann Wolf. You know.
hmm. Yeah, right. I just remember I watched this interview with Philip Hergovich the other day. Have you seen the interview?
No, no, it's
The,
a recent one.
yeah, and he was very confident that he can, I mean, beat and even knock out Usyk. So
Oh
that was
yeah,
very interesting.
way to go!
Yeah,
You gotta be confident. You gotta be
yeah,
confident.
of course. I mean, I think this fight with Duwat proved that he is
Yeah,
not, of course, he's not invulnerable or indestructible
yeah,
because
certainly. He came up
he's
from cruiserweight.
yeah he's with the big boys now, bigger boys than himself.
Good
So
boy. Yeah,
yeah, when
that's why I initially thought that Anthony Joshua would beat him.
yeah, I didn't, but many did think so. But I kind of almost knew. Let's not say I knew, but I thought that he would win because of his speed and everything, the skills and yeah. But I'm
Double
sorry,
down on it like that.
didn't really expect him to fight so aggressively, as he did. So
Yeah, he
yeah.
got the better of him. So interesting. But I
Mm.
look forward to Joshua Wilder if that happens. Though I haven't
Oh
heard
yeah,
much picks.
I would love to see that. Even if maybe they are none of them are at their very best anymore, but still, they can give us one last big fight. Those two
Yeah.
big guys.
Yeah, certainly. Hey, time for the kickback says Marvin Hagler versus Jake LaMotta. Who wins there, Boz?
I think Hagler wins, but of course, Lamada would be a favorite to go the distance. One of the few to go the distance against the prime
Mm-hmm.
Hagler. He's just one of the toughest SOBs that ever boxed. He's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, his chin was really. I mean, he fought Sugar Ray Robinson like how many 8 times or something, and he he was never really knocked out. He was stopped on his feet. So
St.
yeah,
Valentine's Day Massacre.
yeah,
That was the
like
fifth fight.
13th round, yeah, something like that.
I think they fought
Yeah,
five times, maybe six. Well, I think it was five.
yeah.
But yeah,
And
you're right. No, durable.
wasn't he actually the first guy to beat Robinson, or what was it
Yeah.
somebody else? He
No,
was.
no,
Yeah,
it was him. Yeah, LaMotta was the
yeah.
first, if I'm not mistaken. That was yeah, he beat Robinson.
So
Who
yeah,
was
he
it?
was just. Yeah, he was just. I mean, at his
Yeah.
best, Lamoda could beat almost anybody. Yeah, he beat Marcel Cerdan. Of course, that fight was a tainted victory because Cerdan got an injured shoulder and
Oh yeah,
very
Marcel
early. Yeah,
Cerdan, the great French Moroccan.
he beat some other really good fighters. Another French guy who was called Laurent Dotil, something like Laurent
Mm.
Dotil. Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were some good French boxers back then.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. Yeah, France has always had some pretty
Yeah.
good ties to the sport of boxing, just
Mm,
overall, even dating
mm,
back. It's big there. It was big there back in the day, the late 1800s and all that,
yeah.
early
Marcel
1900s.
Marcel Thiel, also very good boxer. He was a champion for
Marcel
a long
Thiel.
time. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
him. I don't know him. Don't know everyone. I don't. Boz knows,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Yeah, I don't
I
know
know
him.
a lot about the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and from there on. But before that, you are better than me. You have more knowledge than me before, especially like before the First World War. Like so
Oh yeah,
many
yeah,
fighters.
yeah. Jointly works out. Jointly works out in connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Salute to Beagle. Beagle 47 in the building. Salute Beagle says late but hello and congrats on the international coverage of 86 boxing. We'll be listening to the rest, then replaying from the start later. Check it out. Good stuff, Beagle. Yeah, appreciate it, Beagle. Dog, it was funny. Funny hearing that mention right there. Good stuff for sure there, Beagle. Appreciate you being here, buddy. No doubt about it. Time for the kickback says if you work out your neck, it gives you a better chin. That's like Clarissa Shields got to wear all that weaves like weighted clothing around the neck. Nah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Salute Ras Clot says Rodolfo in here. Carissa can't even be anyway. It'll be some tough stuff right there. Just some tough stuff.
Yeah,
In a way,
yeah.
legit. Ras Clot, who is greater out of fighting Harada and Inoue for you? I see a lot of people saying it's Inoue now. Yeah, interesting one right there. I know a
Yeah,
fighting Harada. I won't profess to know a ton about him. I know he's a great fighter for sure.
yeah, he was. But I also think that probably in a way is better actually. I mean, yeah, I mean Harada did have his success, but he also has some losses. So
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Lionel Rose, Lionel Rose beat him,
Oh yeah, Brian Rose.
and Johnny Famechon.
Oh yeah. Famous Shown. Who
Johnny.
has a? Does he have a brother or a
No,
relative?
I think his father and some
Okay.
uncles or something. Yeah,
Okay, because I know there's two famous Shows out there that were
yeah,
solid in the boxing world.
yeah. They were a boxing family. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. Rascot says more entertaining goes to fighting Harada for sure. He honestly doesn't know because Inoue doesn't have enough fights and literally avoided some young guns moving up in weight. Hey,
Ooh, that's not true.
and I would have liked to see Inoue there in with Juan Francisco Estrada or Chocolatito. Those guys, he surpassed them division wise now, but
Mm,
it would have been cool to see him in there with some of those guys for sure.
Just a
I think
second, gotta
those are
do
potentially
something.
doable. All right, yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. Raz Scott says Jake LaMotta had small hands, but it was heavy-handed. Jake could crack, certainly. And he was a pretty good boxer overall. He took some shots, but he was a good boxer. Miss Pratt says, I really like Harada's jab. I thought it was very good. Awesome stuff right there. Awesome stuff. Time for the kickback. I'm just impressed that nobody could even knock LaMotta down. Dude was an animal. Some people have that thing called the chin right there, that beard for sure. Time for the kickback. Some people are just born with it. Guys like him, guys like George Chavallo, they're just born with that beard. You can't do anything to them. The lightweight division video y'all just did was fire. Hey, appreciate it, Rasclot. Appreciate it. No, that was fun. That was a good one. 1903. So the intent was for that to be a preview, kind of before we dove into kind of our thoughts surrounding the rankings and where fighters ended up or where they would lie as far as 1903 is concerned, which was a very good year in boxing right there. And as you saw, some guys had some pretty amazing 1903s for the most part. It's hard to not have Joe Gibbons at the top of the ledger, considering we know who he was as a champion. But definitely a tough year there for a lot of them. LaMotta versus Hagler would be a slugfest like the likes of Ward Gotti. Yep, or Gotti Ward. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Rascott says to Mr. Pass, Pryor's favorite fighter was fighting Harada. That explains it all. Oh, that's pretty dope. I didn't know that. So Aaron Pryor.
Dope.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was very like him, like whirlwind fire. I mean, Harada wasn't a puncher really, but he could put you down because he was so aggressive. Yeah, no, he did put Famechon down, I believe, 3 times in the first fight, and then I believe it was a draw, and then in the rematch, Famechon knocked him through the ropes and out. And he wasn't really a puncher either, but he just happened to catch him right. That was the last fight of Harada.
Okay.
Yeah, 14th round. Yeah.
I think he's is he still alive? I think he's still alive.
Maybe he might be. He's not that old. I mean, he fought like the last fight was in 1970, I believe.
Yeah. So yeah, he is. He's 80.
Yeah.
Fighting Harada.
From Tokyo. Masahiko Harada.
Good stuff. Miss Fat says, man, I wish we got Aaron Pryor versus Ray Leonard. Yeah, that would have been a good one right there. Who do you like in that contest, Boz? Aaron Pryor versus Sugar Ray Leonard. That would have been a good one.
I don't really. I mean, Leonard was very just slick and fast, so I think he would probably eventually get Pryor under control there. But it would be a tough first 5, 6, 7 rounds, I don't know, for Leonard. Yeah.
There's that would be a good one. Hagler Hearns versus Gotti Ward. Which was better? Hey, it depends on preference. One went long. One was 3 rounds, right?
Hagler and Hearns, that didn't last very long, so I would say Gotti Ward probably. Only the first round of
you can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah. I mean, only the first round of Hagler Hearns was really like, totally insane, like fireworks.
Yeah, they were just going insane.
Yeah.
Bombs.
Yeah.
So yeah, both are great right there. Time for the kickback. Both have their place in history. Both are probably in that top 10 fight category if you ask people just in general. So hey, you can't go wrong with either one. You can recommend it to boxing fans or either one to boxing fans for sure. Rasclot thinks it would have been a slaughter for Ray. Aaron is one of my favorites, but he wasn't good. Or wasn't gonna beat Ray. Not even close, actually.
No, if Benitez could not do it, or Hearns, how is Pryor gonna do it? I mean, Duran did because he got under Leonard's skin and got him to fight his fight, so he could do that. I mean, better than Duran. Nobody did. So
I like the focus Ray in terms of Ray boxing, just intent on outboxing him. I like that version of him. Aaron Pryor will be storming in, of course, but I think he'd be getting picked off at points because he can't help but be aggressive. So it'll be interesting, though. Will be an interesting one. I think it'll be an interesting one for sure. Uh, Time
I
for the
would
kickback.
have liked to see Michael Nunn versus Hagler. That would have been interesting.
Oh, Michael Nunn. Michael Nunn.
Mm,
Okay,
because
yeah,
of
yeah.
his height and reach advantage, I think he could have had a realistic chance. Actually,
hmm
he was very talented, as you know.
Yeah,
Mm.
Michael Nunn. Yeah, yeah. I need to see more of him. I know. Yeah, he was pretty solid though. He was pretty solid. That would have been an
Second to
interesting one.
none.
Would have
Yeah,
been an
as
interesting one for sure.
I like to joke, when he lost to Tony, he became second to Tony.
Oh, James Tony.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Tony was a good one for sure. Crafty guy right
yeah,
there.
he was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Time for the kickback says I think it was Teddy Atlas who pointed out how overrated Joshua is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't have
his own
much.
perspective, right?
Yeah, he's not that. How do you say? He doesn't have a plan B. I mean, he didn't have in that fight. So
Yeah,
once you figure him out, that's it. You win. You beat him. That. So
yeah. But I think he,
that's
kind
all.
of fought his way to the top. He went in with some guys. He has a pretty solid resume, but yeah, some people,
Mm. Yeah, you
they aren't built
of
for it.
course.
Certain styles.
Yeah, if you can stay away from his biggest punches, of course, then you win. But if not, yeah, you know what happens.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Raspot says Bobby Joe Young described Pryor at 147 like this. He's a good fighter, but way too small for us 147 fighters.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, I was thinking about that as well. It would have to take place, I would think, at 147. So yeah, and that's Sugar Ray at his best right there. You know,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
it would have been tough. Uh, Hagler versus Jake goes 15 rounds. Hagler by UD, I say. That's what Rasclot says. Hagler by unanimous decision.
Mm. And I think last week when I was alone, here, so we were talking about Mayweather and people he ducked, So I remember, I think one of you guys, maybe Rasclot, said about Joel Casamayor. That fight never happened, so that was a big shame also. But
Who?
anyway,
Who?
Joel Casamayor and
Okay.
Mayweather,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and also Acelino Freitas. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Freitas, yeah. Yeah, that would have been interesting. Those would have been some interesting. I interviewed
Mm.
Casamayora once. He said that he felt he would. Of course, why wouldn't he feel he would have beat Floyd? But that's a
Yeah,
fight on it.
yeah. He
That would have
had
been
also.
interesting. Two technicians right there going at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Mm.
Yeah. So that's always it. Always leaves something to be desired when you have some of those matchups out there that
Yeah.
have Floyd potentially versus Costa Zoo.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Would have been
That's
interesting to
right.
see how he dealt with that type of power.
Yeah. I know that there are many people. I had arguments about that because Kostya himself claimed that he wanted to fight Floyd, but never got. He was not interested. But then I met some people on this other forum, who were like, "Oh no, it was Kostya who ducked Floyd," and yeah, I don't really care, but it's obvious that Floyd was the one who had a habit of not fighting everybody, and Kostya was not one of those guys.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously,
right, right.
yeah,
No, you make a good point right there. You make a good
yeah,
point. Yeah. Salute to Max Duran in the building there. Max, appreciate you being here. For sure. Always great having you here. Max, Mr. Pat says, yeah, Pryor's
so
career
yeah,
cannot be boiled down to that bottle. I agree with you. I mean, he was
yeah.
like that in other fights too.
That was
So
unfair. I mean, even if it was something illegal there, I mean, it wasn't his fault. He didn't know about it, so yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, sir.
He was
Certainly.
winning that fight. We scored it. With fight
hmm
score with Jim and the
Yeah,
other
hey,
the
that's
other
a good
fight.
fight. Classic.
Yeah, it was
We
really good fight.
We watched him rescored it on the Fight Night Scores channel not
Mm,
too long ago, and you're right. Oh yeah, I think you were part of that. And you're right.
yeah,
Prior, he was winning that fight for sure.
he was. Yeah,
Bottle removed, he was winning. He was getting the
I
better
think
of. Alexis, who had some moments, some very good moments, but
Yeah,
certainly it wasn't about him.
I think I had like 8 rounds to 5 for Pryor. Yeah, at the
Mm-hmm.
stoppage.
Time for the kickback says Duran versus Ricardo Mayorga would have caused a riot. LOL. That would have been a funny one.
Yeah,
But
of
Duran would
course.
knock him out. But yeah,
Yeah.
154. Because what did Mayorga? He fought. He fought at 147 too,
Well,
right? So
47, he was,
yeah,
that's where he really did best, actually.
yeah. So
But
yeah,
yeah,
but Duran would knock him out for sure
yeah, yeah, he
because
was,
that technique would be lacking.
yeah. Mayorga was not hard to hit for sure. He was tough, but he wasn't hard
Yeah,
to
it's
hit.
tough. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would have been like what
Yeah,
happened
when
with
he,
against Oscar or Felix. Well, not Felix
yeah,
Trinidad. Oscar De La
Vernon Forrest. When he
Hoya.
knocked out Vernon Forrest, that was just wow. What the hell
Yeah,
happened that
you know,
night?
that's what I say. Styles make fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Vernon wasn't ready for his physicality, probably. So, yeah. He really,
I've used this as a thing when some people like when talking about Harry Grant, for instance. Some people will say, "I don't know how good he is because I didn't see him," and I think to myself, "What if he looked like Ricardo Mayorga?
yeah.
You saw what he was able to beat Vernon Forrest, who, from a technical standpoint, looks as good as it gets. So
Yeah.
that goes to show you, even if
Tall.
you haven't seen him, it's like
Yeah.
you
Tall,
can't.
rangy guy. Yeah. Good boxer,
Shane
good
Mosley couldn't
puncher.
do anything with Vernon Forrest, Yet
Yeah.
Mosley
Yeah.
could beat Mayorga.
Mayor. yeah. Yeah, of course. Only a
Yeah,
shame that fight didn't happen sooner because I think, yeah. I mean, Mayorga was by then not him, his old
yeah,
self. Yeah.
yeah. Certainly.
Mm.
So interesting stuff there. Miss Fast says, Rest, I heard multiple different reasons as to why Leonard fights never happened, but true story is the promoters didn't want to make it, but the fighters did, right? Oh, this is in relation to Leonard versus what's the name? Well, I know there are some people in
Prior.
the area who said that I've seen on some forum or on Facebook who said that Leonard didn't want it with Durant or Pryor, but
yeah.
I feel different. I don't know. I like Leonard's chances.
mm. Yeah, me too.
It is interesting. It is interesting. Mayor smack Shane's Mosley girlfriend's booty. That man has no chill. Yeah, I remember when that
Yeah,
happened.
that was, and mostly just went for him.
Yeah, right. Wasn't Lionel the first champ to be from Oceania region? From the Oceania region?
Lionel
Lionel,
who?
which Lionel there, Rodolfo? Lionel,
Lionel.
maybe I'm missing someone. Miss
Yeah,
Fast, if I remember correctly, Harada's losses to Pony King Petch and Fame Sean were very controversial. I haven't watched those fights in a long time
yeah. I
though.
think the first fight with Famishon was gonna be a draw, but they changed it into a victory. Famishon. That's what happened. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why they had a rematch also, but in the rematch, Harada lost like fair and square. He got knocked out.
Mm, interesting. Good fight is that little Australian fighter outboxed Harada with ease. Who that? Who's that there? Red spot.
Oh, Lionel Rose, right.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. But time especially with both social media priors on it. Yeah, social media changes things a bit these days. So more is out there almost instantly. So yeah, back then you had to travel a further distance. And it took a little while to get there. And then that word of
Mhm.
mouth kind of, can vary. Wrestler Joe Calzaghe, in my opinion, at 168 beats Tony. Too active, too accurate, too fast for Tony. Interesting. What do you think there, Boz? Calzaghe Tony at
I
168.
don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think he would beat him, but it will be a very close, hard fight. I think. I'm not sure who would win. Yeah, I think Tony maybe would have won that. I mean, at his best, Prime
Yeah,
versus Prime, I think Tony beats Calzaghe, but yeah, I mean, Calzaghe, of course, has a much longer career at 168. I don't
yeah.
know. Really. Yeah, I would say Tony probably. But it would be a good fight, really, a true fight.
yeah,
Not a
yeah.
schooling.
I'd lean Tony as well, but hey,
Yeah,
you never know. You never know.
yeah.
Especially depending on the type of camp Tony had too.
Mm.
Rasclot Floyd avoided left-handers. Hey, interesting one right there. Interesting one for sure.
Yeah, he didn't fight some guy, definitely.
But that's why it took a long time for Floyd to face back. Yeah, I wish that fight would have happened sooner for sure.
mm.
And of course, it didn't live up to the hype that we expected. But some of that was because it was just a lot of wear and tear there in between time. Things changed.
Yeah.
Rascot says Floyd would have boxed circles on Zoo. No one short with short arms is beating Floyd. Interesting. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know really, but Floyd had Floyd Costa too had the power actually to really trouble Floyd.
What if we caught him like he caught Zab?
Yeah, he couldn't have knocked him out. Definitely. I mean, he was very. He studied his opponent patiently. That's what he does. He did well, Costa, and then he would land the right punch at the right time.
Yeah. Certainly.
Punches.
Rodolfo Rivera Jr. said, I was going to ask who's the greatest Central American of all time, but Duran came to my head and Alexis Arguello too. Am I forgetting someone? Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty much those two. Yeah, I can't. There are some guys, other guys from Panama, yes, but those two are the best, probably greatest. Panama had a really good boxing history. I mean, for not that big country.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that a bit more, but certainly I think tops right now is Duran.
Yeah.
So, that sounds about right there, Rodolfo. Certainly sounds right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Is it is it the time? Have we got anything else to add, gentlemen?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there for sure. He says Forrest was decent. Yeah, Forrest was decent. His style was bad for Mosley. That's all. Certainly. Rodolfo Rivera, Lionel Richie. No, Lionel Rose. Okay. Lionel Richie, hey, he could get down as well.
I like Lionel Richie. He has good songs.
That's funny. Rasclot, if Forrest was good, as we all thought, he should have beat Mayorga, but he lost twice to Mayorga. Hey, styles make fights, Styles make fights.
He didn't have I don't know what it was.
He should have beat him. He certainly should have beat him.
Yeah. The second time he came close, but he didn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Rasclot Zoo got KO'd by Vince Phillips, who was almost 40 then.
I don't think so. He was like 34, but yeah. So, but it was I mean, Phillips was very good, very fast and hard hitting, and it was in 10 rounds, so it wasn't like a knockout in 3 rounds. So
yeah. So that certainly makes things interesting.
I believe Sue was ahead actually at the time of the stoppage, so yeah, it wasn't like a blowout or a destruction. Really, I mean, real beat down or anything.
Yeah, you're susceptible to getting caught for sure. Susceptible to getting caught.
Yeah, he was. Everybody has his chink in the arm.
All right. Cool. Yeah, about that time there for us. To head up out of here real quick before we do that, Boz. Here we got what's coming up on the schedule on Friday the 15th. You got Lopez versus Gonzalez. So that's Joet Gonzalez, and then it's Lopez. I always forget his first name. Marie, what is it?
Right. I thought that fight was going to happen this week. I included.
IBF World Featherweight Championship.
I included it by mistake on my boxing prediction video for this weekend. So that was a wonder.
Yeah. Good point there, Rasclot. The arms and short height, Floyd wins. Yeah, he's been able to be successful with that for sure. Sure. But that one's coming up there. So look forward to that one. It should be a good one. I favor Lopez. I've mentioned this might be the last world title shot for Joet Gonzalez, but who knows? You also have Jermaine Ortiz. I think he's going to be taking on Moran, the one who fought Devin Haney. Can't think of his name
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
Moran.
Yeah,
I'm
Antonio
cool.
Moran is his name.
Yeah.
He won a tournament over on Pro Box as well. So Antonio Moran, pretty solid boxer overall. I favor. Well, I think Jermaine Ortiz has the power to potentially get him out of there, but Moran is going to be boxing pretty well, I'd imagine, before that happens. Xander Zaya is fighting as well. Also, we have a fight between Pedraza, but this is a Panamanian. I believe it's a Panamanian Pedraza, so it's not the one I thought.
Oh,
Some other
right.
card. Then we have Fierro's Zamaripa. That should be a fun fight, I would say. I like Fierro. He's a exciting fighter.
Cool.
So you have that, and then on Monday there's a card in Japan. So light flyweight championship matchup, WBA, WBC. So Taraji taking on Butler, which looks like a Namibian fighter, fighter representing Namibia. But yeah, that's what's up. So that's what's coming up. But yeah, folks, hey, this has been great as always. We get in a little bit of modern and history. And hey, we've enjoyed it. We enjoyed the dialogue. We get salutes from our people in here. So we're gonna do it. Yep, Mr. Paz. Yeah, Xander is on that card. Xander Zayas, so he looks pretty good thus far.
He follows everything. You are amazing, Mr. Paz, really.
Yeah, Mr. Paz is on it. Yep, Xander is on there, so he's looked good. But, yeah, we'll see how he continue to progress. And so, yeah, I look forward to more stuff. Got this book right here, The Colored Heavyweight Championship 1876. So shout out to Mark Allen Baker, who I'll be interviewing at some point here on October 18th. He sent me this book along with a couple others. These are those he authored himself, so I'll let you know how it is. But a lot of good information and history in here. You see it. So shout out to Mark Allen Baker. Stephanie Simon gonna be having her come on as well. But yeah, we'll be in the mix, folks. With that, of course, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for everyone who dropped by.
Yes.
Thanks to everyone, and we'll be around.